Welcome back to Whole Recaps. Today we embark on an emotional journey into a story that has not merely warmed but forever altered countless hearts across the globe. We are delving into a true tale from 2011 that speaks to the very core of our humanity, a biography, a comedy, and a drama that reminds us of the redemptive power of connection. This is the story of the Untouchables. Let us begin where the magic often does, under the cloak of a Parisian night. The city of light is asleep, its grand avenues hushed and shimmering under a celestial tapestry of stars. In this stillness, a car carries two souls who do not yet know they are about to save each other. Driss, his hands firm on the wheel, glances at his employer, Felipe, a man encased in a world of silence and privilege. But when the stillness of traffic becomes a suffocating metaphor for their lives, Driss does something extraordinary. He shatters the silence. This isn't recklessness, it is a shared rebellion, a desperate, glorious gasp for freedom. It is the sound of two cages rattling at once when police lights paint the streets in flashes of blue and red. A bet is made not for money, but for the fragile, thrilling hope of feeling truly alive, if only for a moment. Cornered under the cold, shadowed arch of a bridge, a place where hope often feels lost, Driss does not falter. Instead, he weaves a tapestry of love and urgency with his words. His performance is so raw, so convincing that it does not just fool the officers, it transforms their suspicion into genuine, heartfelt concern. The sirens that once promised reprimand now sing a different tune, offering a royal procession for a night of fabricated emergencies. As the police led their way, a silent understanding passes between the two men in the car. Driss celebrates not with a triumphant shout, but by filling the vehicle with the soulful, soaring strains of September. And when they are alone again, parked somewhere in the vast, forgiving embrace of the night, they share a quiet smoke. No words are needed. The smoke curls upwards, a silent, sacred testament to a bond that had already begun to knit their wounded souls together. This profound connection, which would defy every societal boundary imaginable, had the most humble and unlikely of beginnings. Wealthy aristocrat Felipe, who is paralyzed, and his assistant Magli are interviewing for a live minus and caretaker. The candidates are all boring and give the same rehearsed answers, and Felipe is unimpressed. Suddenly, their day is interrupted by Driss. He barges in out of turn, not for the job, but to get a rejection form signed so he can claim unemployment benefits. He's direct, a bit rude, and even flirts with Magli. Surprisingly, Felipe is amused by his honesty and tells him to come back tomorrow for the signed paper. Driss then goes back to his crowded, modest apartment in the projects. He tries to take a bath but is constantly bothered by his many younger siblings. His older sister Mina finally helps him get some peace. While waiting for his mom, he sees his brother, Anime, get out of a suspicious car. When Anime comes inside, he lies about being at school and quickly leaves again, making Driss worry he's involved in something illegal. Later, Driss's mom comes home. He gives her a stolen Fabergé as a gift and lies that he's been on vacation. She isn't happy. She's furious that he disappeared for 6 months without calling and now acts like he can just come back as he pleases. Tired of his lies and the stress of raising her other kids alone, she kicks him out of the house for good. With nowhere to sleep, Driss spends the night on the street with his friends from the neighborhood. The next day, Driss returns to Felipe's huge mansion. The housekeeper Vaughn shows him around the luxurious house and explains Felipe's daily care routine. She even shows him the fancy room and private bathroom he could have. Driss is clearly impressed by the bathtub. When he meets Felipe, he's offered a surprise. Not just the signed form, but the caretaker job itself for a 1-month trial. Felipe even jokes that he bets Driss won't last 2 weeks. Driss moves in and immediately starts learning the job. He's taught how to exercise Felipe's legs, move him to his wheelchair, and help him shower and get dressed. The hardest parts are the most personal tasks, like putting on special stockings and helping Felipe in the bathroom. Driss complains a lot and says he won't do it, but in the end, he accepts it as part of his new duties. One evening, Driss is enjoying a snack on the rooftop when his peace is shattered by Felipe's daughter Elisa and her boyfriend Bastin, who are looking for a private spot. Driss promptly kicks them out and refuses to share his beer. Despite a rocky start, Driss gradually gets used to life with Felipe. He learns from his mistakes, like remembering to hold the phone to Felipe's ear and not forgetting the baby monitor during his bath. He even starts organizing Felipe's mail into different folders. He can open most letters, but one private stack is off minus limits. When he finds a flyer for escort services, he playfully makes a special file for them instead of throwing it away. It's not all work for Driss. He still finds time for fun constantly, and unsuccessfully flirting with Magli and sometimes calling escorts to his room. One morning, Yvonne scolds him for being late and finds dangerous weapons in his bag. She doesn't say anything at the time, but the tension is clear. That day, Driss's job is to drive Felipe. He refuses to put Felipe in the back of a van like cargo, and instead chooses one of the sleek, rarely used sports cars. Felipe first argues for being practical, but soon enjoys the thrill of the faster ride, though Yvonne still disapproves. As they try to leave, a neighbor's car is blocking the entrance. Driss immediately confronts the man, grabbing him by the shirt and threatening him until he moves the car. Felipe is impressed by his direct action, while Yvonne is, once again, horrified. The pair visits an art museum where Felipe thinks about buying an abstract painting that Driss mockingly calls a red blotch and says isn't worth the money. Later, one of Felipe's relatives expresses the family's worry about Driss's violent past and criminal record, but Felipe isn't concerned. He values Driss because he doesn't treat him with pity and jokes with him like a normal person. After another failed attempt to flirt with Magali, Driss has dinner in the kitchen with Yvonne. They listen through the baby monitor as Felipe dictates a letter. Yvonne says it's a private conversation and turns the monitor off. She then reveals a secret. Felipe has been writing to a woman named Eleonore. Those are the private letters, but he has never met her. Their relationship is only on paper. Driss eases Yvonne about the looks the gardener gives her before he goes to bed. As he tries to sleep, Driss hears strained, labored breathing through the monitor. Felipe is having a severe panic attack. Unable to ignore him, Driss rushes to his room. He uses soothing words and a cool, "Iana will find to against a viave," damp cloth on Felipe's face to guide him through the crisis, a quiet moment of compassion in the middle of the night. Felipe eventually falls back asleep but soon wakes up gasping for air. This time, Driss doesn't hesitate. He puts Felipe in his wheelchair, wraps him in warm blankets, and takes him out for a quiet walk by the river. For Felipe, it's the first time he has seen Paris at night in a long time. As he relaxes by the water, he opens up to Driss. He explains that his medicine can only do so much and he sometimes suffers from phantom pains in his missing limbs. Watching a group of young women walk by, Felipe shares a deeper vulnerability. His condition means he can't physically please a woman, but he shares a small secret. He gets a strange sense of pleasure from having his ears massaged, as they have become very sensitive. When the phantom pain threatens to return, Driss offers a solution from his own world. He shares a joint with Felipe. Though skeptical at first, Felipe finds unexpected relief and even enjoyment in the experience. Feeling emboldened, they head to a restaurant where they share a meal filled with easy laughter. In this warm, unguarded moment, Felipe opens up about his past. He tells Driss how he met his wife during their student days. Shortly after marriage, tragedy struck Minas. She suffered 5 miscarriages before being diagnosed with an incurable terminal illness. It was then that they adopted their daughter Elisa. Felipe, who had always loved competition, extreme sports and speed, found his ultimate thrill in paragliding. It was during a flight that bad weather caused him to crash, breaking his vertebrae. But he confides that his real disability isn't the wheelchair minius, it's having to live without his wife. After more light-hearted joking, Felipe suddenly remembers the date and realizes with a smile that Driss has officially passed his 1-month trial. He's hired. But his first official task is serious. He must return the stolen Fabergé egg. Felipe reveals it was a gift from his late wife Minas. She gave him one every year. The 20-5 eggs he owns mark the years they had together, and the collection must be made complete again. The next day, Driss meets his sister Mina after school. She's hurt that he's only contacted her about the egg, ignoring her messages. She also warns him that police have been calling their home. Driss then finds Adame, who confesses he was caught with 30 grams of drugs. When Driss tries to take him to lunch, Adame refuses and slips away, getting back into the same suspicious car as before. Later, Driss sits in as Felipe dictates a letter to Eleonore. He finds the flowery language unbearably boring and insists Felipe should be more direct. He's shocked to learn this written romance has been going on for 6 months without them ever exchanging pictures. Seizing the moment, Driss finds her number on a letter and calls her, forcing a flustered Felipe to finally speak with her. The call goes so well that soon Felipe is constantly on the phone with her. Even right before he and Driss end the opera Minas, where Driss's laughter and mockery of the costumes provides an irreverent soundtrack. The next day, Driss convinces a reluctant Felipe to exchange photos with Eleonore, boldly choosing a recent one that shows him in his wheelchair. Later, as Driss experiments with painting, Elisa bursts into his room, demanding cigarettes and mocking his artistic efforts. Enraged, he kicks her and storms off to confront Felipe, who is at that moment asking Yvonne to swap the photo for an older one from before his accident. Yvonne quickly hides the picture in the escort file just as Driss bursts in, ranting about Elisa and demanding Felipe discipline his daughter. Mine is something Yvonne strongly agrees with. Felipe agrees to talk to her, but his real surprise comes when Driss accidentally reveals he's been painting. As days turn into weeks, the bond between the two men deepens in a true friendship. Driss takes Felipe out to play in the snow and pushes his wheelchair alongside him on runs. Felipe, in turn, gifts Driss his first tailored suit and firmly scolds Elisa, with Driss listening and proudly on the baby monitor. When Driss completes his first painting, he shows it to Magali, who responds to his attempted kiss with a sharp slap. Felipe, however, genuinely likes the artwork and promises to try to sell it. Their shared life becomes filled with joy, sharing joints, and even hiring escorts together. But when Felipe's birthday approaches, his enthusiasm fades. He dreads the annual ritual of pretending to be surprised at a party filled with relatives who seem to visit only to confirm he's still alive. It will all be rather boring, he predicts. During the party, as guests listen to live classical music, Driss finds Elisa crying in her room after taking some of Yvonne's pills minus a failed suicide attempt. She confesses she's heartbroken because Baston called her at art and broke up with her. She begs Driss to talk to him, which he agrees to do minus for a price. Meanwhile, Felipe successfully sells Driss's painting to a relative for 11,000 euros. While chatting with Yvonne afterward, Driss learns that Magali's relationship with a man named Fred is struggling. which renews his hope. As the party ends, Felipe tries to share classical music with Driss, who responds with jokes. Unfazed, Driss plugs in his iPod and fills the grand hall with Boogie Wonderland by Earth, Wind, Fire. He starts dancing, and his impressive moves gradually get everyone at the party to join in a spontaneous dance. Felipe watches with pure joy. Later, while helping Felipe get ready for bed, Driss opens the latest letter from Eleonore. She has sent her pictures. He's beautiful and suggests they meet in Paris the following week. On the day of the date, Yvonne and Driss help a nervous Felipe try on dozens of outfits until they find the perfect one. Since Yvonne is driving him, Driss uses his day off to find Baston. He threatens the boy until he agrees to apologize to Elise and bring her croissants every day. Driss also tells him to fix his bad haircut. Afterward, Driss visits his mother at work but only watches from a distance, unable to mend their relationship. At the restaurant, Felipe and Yvonne wait anxiously for Eleonore. After an hour with no sign of her, a disappointed Felipe calls Driss to come pick him up. They leave just moments before Eleonore arrives. Wanting to cheer Felipe up that night, Driss takes him up in his private plane and gives him the money from the sold painting, making him incredibly happy. The next morning, they go to the countryside where Felipe decides to go paragliding and insists that a terrified Driss join him. After initially panicking, Driss ends up loving the breathtaking experience. When they return home, they find Adame waiting. Driss's brief happiness disappears when he sees the fresh scars on his brother's face, and he becomes filled with anger and concern. Adame refuses to explain what happened. Driss, frustrated but protective, makes him wait in his room. He first calls Mina to reassure her, then goes to help Felipe for the night. But Felipe isn't ready to sleep. After quietly looking at a painting together, he gently asks Driss about his family. Reluctant at first, Driss eventually opens up and reveals his complicated past. He explains that Adame isn't actually his brother, and the people he calls his parents are really his aunt and uncle. They brought him from Senegal when he was 8 because they couldn't have children. His real name is Bakri Bass Ari, but he was called Idris, which became Driss because other children had the same name. Later, his aunt miraculously became pregnant. After his uncle died, other men came into her life and she had more children. In a touching moment, Felipe uses Driss's own earlier advice, pointing out that Adame needs guidance and discipline. With great kindness, Felipe makes a tough decision. He fires Driss. He tells him he can't spend his life taking care of an old man. He needs to be with his family, who need him now. The next morning, after seeing Bast and deliver the promised croissant with his new, better haircut, Driss packs his bags. Magali comes to say goodbye. When Driss makes one last attempt to flirt with her, she introduces him to her partner, Fred, short for Frederic. Learning that Magali isn't interested in men, Driss finally gives up with a resigned smile. On his way out, he returns the baby monitor of Yvonne, teasing her for lying about Magali just to mess with him. He returned. She gives him the escort file he started. As he looks through it, he discovers the old photo of Felipe that he had chosen for Eleonore hidden among the flyers. He throws the file away but keeps the photo. Outside, he finds a car blocking the entrance again. Even though he no longer works there, he confronts the driver and insists he moved, telling Adame it's a matter of principle. A few hours later, the two brothers pick up their mother from the station. Meanwhile, back at the mansion, Felipe is having his first dinner with his new, very formal caretaker. The atmosphere is stiff and boring. Unable to stand it, Felipe leaves the table without eating. With Yvonne out on her date with the gardener, no one is there to scold him. As time passes, Driss returns to his old life. He hangs out with his friends again and firmly warns the men in the suspicious car to stay away from Adame. At a job interview for a position he's entered Coludivi for, he wins over the employer by calling himself pragmatic and skillfully using the art knowledge he gained from working with Felipe. He gets a job as a driver. Back at the mansion, Felipe becomes increasingly unhappy with his new caretaker. His mood turns consistently sour. One night, when phantom pain strikes, he refuses help from everyone in the house. A worried Yvonne makes a decisive call to Driss, begging him to come over. This brings us back to the film's opening scene. Their wild, high-maintenance speed joyride that leads to a police chase. After understanding a situation, the officers respectfully escort them to the hospital instead of arresting them. Following this adventure, Driss drives a calmer Felipe to the coast. The vast, soothing view of the sea finally brings peace to Felipe's restless spirit. Sometime later, in a tender moment, Driss trims Felipe's overgrown beard. He then takes him to a restaurant for lunch, but announces he won't be staying. Mina, someone else, will be keeping Felipe company today. After wishing him luck, Driss finally returns the stolen Fabergé. As Driss leaves, Felipe feels a wave of anxiety about being alone, until he sees his date Eleonore, who arrives delighted to finally meet him, her warm smile showing the wheelchair doesn't matter at all. The final message reminds us with gentle hope. Despite everything, the real Felipe found love again and built a new family. The real Driss established his own business and created his own family. And through all these years, despite the distance, these two men have maintained their deep friendship, and it's a lasting testament to the powerful, unbreakable bond that formed between them, proving that true friendship can transcend all boundaries.